this is a sidebar.
Yeah.
Because we talk about the sustainable farming and the biodynamic farming, and that there's so much of it going on here, where are you with your vineyards on that?
Yeah.
What kind of practices do you use?
Yeah. So I've been live certified since 2008. Live is, I mean, it used to stand for low input viticulture enology. I don't think they really use that acronym anymore, but that is Oregon's Sustainable Farming Organization. So that's certification for sustainable farming. And I've had that certification since '08. But once I achieved that certification, because when you put wooden imposts that are treated in your vineyard, you have to wait 3 years just to be organic, right? Or to be certified. And even though we've been farming organic for a long time, we went fully organic 6 or 7 years ago. And, we've stayed that way. I haven't bothered to certify the vineyard, mostly because COVID happened and they weren't doing the inspections. And also, quite frankly, it's very expensive. The important thing is that we're doing the right practices in my mind. And I do believe it makes a better wine.
Do you employ any biodynamic practices? Do you use any of the preparations or anything that's similar to those? Like,
Yeah,
do you
so
compost teas in any way, shape, or form?
we do. I mean, we do homeopathic soil treatments, composting. We don't bury cow horns, which,
No. Yeah.
is the biodynamic way of doing it. We go to Recology and we buy the compost. And they let me use their spreader for free when I do that. And so, we're just spreading it out there. Like this morning, I was collecting tissue samples off the vines. And that's going to go to, Oregon Department of Agriculture, the USDA extension at Oregon State. They're going to test it for the 17 micro and macronutrients that the plants need for their growth cycle. And they're going to tell me if there's any deficiencies or if there's anything less than optimal, that we need to, to think about, or, and that might mean that we might do enhanced cover crop in that block, or we may end up composting, but we do use, we are organic, and we do use homeopathic soil treatments like composting and enhanced cover crop and things like that, which is very, very similar to biodynamic. We're just not doing it by the phases of the moon and some of those other things.
I think so few people are. I think the phases of the moon kind of thing is something that most people just don't pay attention to. But it's one of those things I think you find directions that you could go in through biodynamics. There were some great ideas there. So It's not dogma. You pick and choose which ones actually work for you, and you tweak them to make them work better because every site is different. So,
Right. I mean, now the big thing is no-till.
Yes, regenerative.
Yeah, right.
That is the big thing now.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on that?
Well, I'm not doing it, but I mean, every one of these things has pros and cons.
Right.
Okay. I haven't found. I mean, this is my opinion, of course. I haven't found the one perfect thing, and I want to have the flexibility, like in a year like this, where it was so dry, and from April. From the end of March, we haven't had any rain to speak of. And here it is August. And we're probably going to have we are going to have another heat wave this week. And who knows before we get through September if we're going to see any rain. So like early on this year, I tilled all my rows. So that's really the opposite of no-till. And I'm looking at, there are some of my neighbors that do practice no-till. And I'm looking at their vines, and they're really suffering in the heat because of all the competition from that no-tilling. And then there are other issues with no-tilling. And I'm not saying, obviously, one is right and one is wrong, or one is good or one is bad. It's just a matter of, I look and if I think I need to do something, I want to have the flexibility to do that. And I decided to clear cultivate with mature vines this year, which is a little unusual. But I feel like it was the right decision, and you can see the vigor in my vines even after the heat dome and all the dry, multi-years of drought and everything. My vines are looking pretty good, given what we're up against right now.
Right.
So that's my that's how I judge it.
Yeah.
You still have to adapt.
You have to adapt.
Nobody can say it. Now, regenerative is perfect in the ideal conditions, but you have too much rain. We were down in Australia, too much rain. You got to do something different.
Yeah.
It's too dry, and who predicted a heat dome in that equation?
Right, exactly.
So you're going to have to make assumptions.
Right. Yeah. So I like to be able to give myself the flexibility
Yeah.
to make decisions like that. And of course I do, because I make all those decisions. You know, if it's wrong, then I can live with the fact that I made a mistake, you know, but you know, usually I'm not wrong. So
There you go.
it's okay.
That's a wrap on this episode, but there is so much more on Utopia Vineyard and Ribbon Ridge. For details and information, visit our YouTube page and subscribe. And watch for our next episode of The Scenic Route as we head west to the Yamhill Carlton AVA and visit with Steve Lutz of Lenny Estate. See you next time on The Scenic Route.